Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. This is an interesting area, the place where the high, relatively flat desert turns into hills forested with pine and juniper, the beginning of fertile hunting grounds. Along this edge, in the lower hills, I discovered what I believe to be a seasonal hunting camp. People would have hung out in this area during animal movements in the fall and spring. A comfortable area on the edge of fertile hunting grounds that offered some protection from the elements. I found an abundance of lithic debris here, as well as artifacts, both projectile points and tools. A fascinating spot. Please join me as I head out into the desert to discover what once was. Doesn't look like much, you know, but right up in here is a camp. I don't know if it's a seasonal camp, a hunting camp, a combination of all those things, but there's definitely a camp up there. This is a good hunting area. Beyond this, there's some protection up here. You've got, there's a big rock formation. It would be a good area to get out of wind elements, hunker down, work on tools, and then strike out from the area. So I don't think it was anything like sedentary. Maybe it was, but my own speculation, I just think it was maybe a place people passed through. They would settle here for a night or two, work on tools and strike out, hunt, maybe come back with kills. I don't know. You know, it's just really hard to discern, but I'm going to go back in the area and do a nice thorough search, and we're going to see if we can find any artifacts. So let's go have a look. All right, so I'm kind of at a level spot before I start gaining an elevation, and at this area I've already encountered lithic material. This is obsidian. This is a it's a pretty common material for tool making in the area I'm at. I'm in the high desert, about 6,000 feet in elevation. So obsidian, the area is volcanic, excuse me. But a lot of obsidian in this area and chert. So coming across an artifact, more than likely obsidian, but there's enough chert that that's possible as well. So I'm just going to spend a few hours searching this area and see if we can come across anything. I want to talk about just a couple things real quickly. As far as like dating the area, I honestly have no way of knowing what time period this camp existed in. I'm under the impression it was prehistoric, and it may be later than that, or I'm sorry, earlier than that. There's just no way for me to know exactly. If I came across an intact artifact in this area, this specific area, now before I go that route, let me just say I'm limited to what I can only come across on the surface by law. So, and while I'm on that topic, you may be wondering, well, how could you find something on the surface from 5,000 years ago? Well, in the desert versus, say, eastern woodland, you can see vegetation it's kind of sparse, you know. There's a lot of open ground, and you get a lot of high winds through here. Yes, we get rain, and whenever all of this occurs, it just, the terrain is in a constant state. It's in a constant state of flux. It's always moving, always changing. A little bit of water creates movement in the land. Wind, of course, buries things, uncovers things, as well as water. So things rise to the surface this way. The land essentially excavates itself over time. That's how I can come across something. So I could come across something from a few hundred years ago here, or I could come across something from 10,000 years ago. It's totally within the realm of possibilities. So back to the artifact. If I could find an intact artifact and identify it, well, it may give me an idea of a time period, if all the materials of the same type, and that's really about it. So those are some of the variables I work within. And yeah, so at this point it's just just staring at the ground. Hey, you can see right where I'm pointing here. This is a very small drainage where water's passed and moved down. And here's like another one. It's kind of like rivulets, you know, but it's uncovering things. And on the surface here where my finger, I've got lithic material and more lithic material. You can see different colors here. We got some chert, maybe jasper, flint, all kind of the same type, but not only is there obsidian, but there's also other materials. So I think this is slowly filtering down from up top. In this area, I've got quite a bit of obsidian flaking. So as you can see, this is good. This is good. This indicates their people were here. They're processing tools, maybe making projectile points, working on cutting tools, knives, scrapers, things of this nature. All that was happening here. That would probably indicate like a hunting camp. I think I just maybe lucked into an artifact here. Oh man, absolutely. I can see a notch right there. Oh yeah, look, my fingertip right there. You can see that notch. Let's go ahead and get this up. Oh, total piece. Oh man, look at that. Wow. That is a projectile point. That's pretty sizable. Look at that notch right there. It fractured here. Come on, focus. Ooh. That would have been pretty big. Huh. I wonder if this is, yeah, as far as identifying, I don't know, this is pretty darn big. That's a big piece. Definitely biface, worked on both sides. Maybe maybe a wrong strike and this busted off right here where my thumb is. Can't say for certain, but I know I've got some viewers that are pretty good at identifying pieces. This would have had like a tang coming out right there at my thumb and another notch. So that's a pretty big piece. That's about 1.5 inches in size. It's beautiful. Look at that. Definitely see the telltale notching there. This might be late archaic, like just before prehistoric times. However, the archaic period is it's a stretch of time. It's 7,000 years. So late archaic is going to be at the latter part of that time period, of course. So this piece could be a few thousand years old. Yeah, it's fantastic. Let's get that up to the sun. Oh, look at that. So you see there at the bottom left, that notch there, where it probably busted off right here. Okay, I just found the artifact basically right behind where my dog's standing. And this area has a lot of roaming cattle, bovines. So if an animal that size steps on this, it'll destroy the artifact. And maybe that happened. Maybe this was intact and an animal stepped on the side of it and fractured it. Totally possible. So I found it on the surface right here. I'm going to move it up just a little bit, kind of underneath this tree. That should give me, well, I hope some type of protection. And I'm going to just kind of secure it a little bit. So hopefully, I don't think a cow would get under here, but you never know. But try and offer some type of protection for the artifact, and then I'm going to mark it with a GPS point. So hopefully that'll protect the artifact. Man, I'm just looking at the ground, and there's just lots of debitage. If you're not familiar with the term, debitage is an accumulation of lithic material. Lithic material, of course, is the residuals of tool processing, the flakes from the rock as it's napped away while you're creating a tool. And the ground's covered. Obsidian, I'm seeing a good amount of chert as well. So you see it in abundance like that, it's a good indication that people weren't just merely passing through the area. This might have been a spot that people returned to. Yeah. You know, each season, fall or spring, as they move their way around following resources, they would come back to a spot that they knew was good to strike out from, fertile hunting grounds, maybe there's water nearby. You know, you can choose your variable for that. And they would just return year after year after year after year. They would return, sit in an area, work on their tools. That material, the lithic material, would build up and up and up. You'd have layers of it. Yeah, it's fascinating to think about. All right, that was fantastic. We almost had an intact artifact. However, the base of the artifact, at least one side, we had a good visual of the notching and the stem. So maybe it can be identified and we can get a time period. So that would be really cool. So if any of you feel like you can identify it, by all means hit up those comments. I've got a nice piece right here. Not intact, but definitely worthy of a closer inspection. Pretty sizable piece. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Yeah, we got a biface all right. This has been worked on both sides. I might have thought the top had been fractured off, and maybe it wasn't. It looks like it's had some work on the top there. The bottom definitely fractured there. Who's to say? Maybe it was intended to be this. You know, it's a nice edge. I can get it to focus. Here we go. Yeah, look at that. Look at the serration there. Yeah, pretty fine edge all around. Maybe this was intended to be this way. Can't say for certain, but this is a really unique piece. Very nice. I don't know if the camera's really picking up that well, but all the black stuff here, this is all lithic material. Probably coming down, slowly working its way down from the top up here. That's where the camp would have been situated. And we got some different material mixed in with, here, check this out. See some of that? All right, so I'm at a nice flat section just beyond the high point here, and you can see still buried right here is a pile of lithic material. So someone sat right where I'm at and was working on a tool, and that's the pile of residuals from that action right there. Isn't it just absolutely fantastic? It's incredible, man. This whole flat section here is absolutely covered in lithic material. It's a mixture of obsidian. There seems to be chert, and there's also what I believe to be basalt. The ground's covered in material. So I'll just run the camera over it. You see all the white pieces there, the black pieces. No doubt this would have been a nice level area to hunker down, work on tools, and it's amazing. So lots of activity right here. So I'm gonna take a minute and kind of walk this area. Yeah, there's just, if I just grab a squat right here, I mean, I got all kinds of stuff, just piles of it, absolute piles of it. So I've got two, what I believe, they're either core stones or they're tools. I kind of think they're tools, especially this one. We're gonna go in for a close-up on those. Two tools on the surface here. Let's have a look at this one real quick. So this is not obsidian, this is basalt, not bath salt, but basalt, B-A-S-A-L-T. There's a bit of a difference. Solid material, very hard, but you can see how it was formed into an edge there. So I think this is a tool. Maybe it's a core stone, but I feel like it's more of a tool. Really interesting, solid here. And there's another one I found not too far away from it. And you can see, once again, a nice, you can see how that's just been worked off there. And the sides have been manipulated. So maybe core stones or, like I said, tools. I think they're tools for actually napping. Perhaps not. I can't say for certain. But this would have been a good material to work the obsidian and chert. I mean, this is solid stuff here. Very interesting. Ground is absolutely covered in material. Fascinating spot. I have no doubt that this was a camp of some sort. It's more than likely a hunting camp. I have not come across any type of pottery. So I'm under the impression this might be a little older than that. But like I said, people were on the move constantly. They were everywhere. So the age of this area could be anything. So I'll just kind of maybe prehistoric to archaic. That would cover a pretty significant time period. Who knows? Maybe it's paleo. You just can't say for certain. So I've moved a little to the west of the camp, and I'm making my way up a slow, like a sloping. This is kind of it's actually a bit of a drainage, so it's gently sloping up to like another saddle, flat area. And as I'm moving along up there, I'm just coming across lots of obsidian lithics. So this is a good sign because this is either washing down or being uncovered. So there might be another camp at this next level spot up here. So I'm gonna make my way up there and we'll have a look, and hopefully we stumble across something. All right, I'm at the level spot, and sure enough, there's a pretty good amount of material up here. It's obsidian. There's chert. Just found a basalt tip here. That's interesting. Let me go in for a close-up because you can definitely tell this has been worked. This might have been pretty big, actually. See how it's been worked, serrated there on the edge. So this is a biface. It's been worked on both sides. And the material, basalt. I'm thinking it's basalt. It's a hard material to manipulate, I think. More so than, say, obsidian or chert, I believe. But I could be wrong. That's an interesting piece. Not sure quite. I mean, it's got a nice edge to it. Yeah, beautiful flat spot right here. And oh, I have a base or a point here. Not a fully intact artifact, but half of one. Check that out. All right, what do we got? Oh man. Wow. Beautiful piece. Look at all the detail on that. Had some serious attention to it. I can't tell if this is a base or not. I mean, it's been worked on that. That might be a base. Maybe this is a dart point. Hard to say. What do you guys think? All right, I moved out of the sun. It's just a little too harsh right now. Get a better eye. Look at this. Wow, look at the detail. Yeah, see that? I'm not so sure that's a tip there. But what do I know? Look at all the attention that was paid to that. That's just a spectacular piece. Oh, dang it. So this is usually how I find artifacts. Usually it's either a base or a tip, you know, broken. Pretty rare to find an intact piece. Ooh, you know what? That might be some slight notching right there. This might be a base. That's where I'm leaning. I think that's a base. That'd be an interesting piece. Wow, fantastic. All right, it's been an absolutely fascinating morning. We found some really cool artifacts and what I definitely believe to be some type of camp, more than likely a seasonal hunting camp or not. But lots of evidence of people making tools. I think it's a hunting camp. Fantastic. Folks, we're going to make our way out of here and continue the search elsewhere. I got lots more content on the way. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. That's free. It helps the channel tremendously. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. D-Rock out. Adios.